Amma's world was torn apart when her beloved father falls ill, setting up a chain of heart-wrenching events that push her to the brink. As she struggles to find her place in unfamiliar cities and faces unimaginable cruelty, Amma's resilience was tested like never before. Amma's father has always been her hero. His deep, comforting voice, the way he would lift her onto his shoulders, and the stories he told at bedtime made her feel safe and loved. The vibrant city of Calabar was the backdrop of their happy family life, filled with the sights, sounds, and smells that Amma had come to cherish. Every morning, Amma would wake up to the crawling of roosters and the warmth of the sun streaming through the small window in her room. The walls of their modest home, though sometimes leaking during heavy rains, were filled with laughter and love. Amma's father was the pillar of their family, strong and dependable, and to Amma, he seemed invisible. But things began to change. Her father, who once carried her on his shoulders, started staying in bed more often. His healthy laugh was replaced by painful coughs, and the man who had always been so full of life seemed to be shrinking before their eyes. Amma noticed the way her father winced when he coughed, how he would grip the arm of his chair as if he needed the extra support just to stand. He no longer joined them at the dining table, and the vibrant household she had known became quiet and tense. The doctor's visits became more frequent, and Amma's mother took on the role of caregiver, tending to her husband day and night. Amma and her siblings did what they could to help, but they were still children, struggling to understand the severity of the situation. Amma's once carefree days were now filled with worry. She often sat by her father's bedside, reading to him from her school books, hoping to bring him some comfort. Sometimes he would smile weakly, but other times he was too weak to respond. On those days, Amma's heart ached with fear. One evening, Amma's father called all the children into the room. His voice was faint and strained, and Amma's heart pounded as she entered. Her father was lying in bed, his breathing labored, his face pale and gaunt. He told them how much he loved them, how proud he was of each of them, and how important it was for them to take care of each other. Tears streamed down Amma's face as she listened to her father's words, feeling like her world was crumbling around her. Amma's father passed away that night, and the grief that followed was overwhelming. The house that had once been filled with laughter and joy was now heavy with sorrow. Amma's mother, though heartbroken, tried to remain strong for her children. She became the anchor of the family, taking on new responsibilities and doing her best to keep life as normal as possible. But nothing felt the same. Amma often found herself wandering through the house, looking for traces of her father, sitting in his favorite chair and pretending to hear his voice in the wind. The city of Calabar became a place of struggle for Amma's mother. Without her husband's income, it became impossible to stay. After much thought, she decided to move the family back to their ancestral village, where life was simpler and more affordable. The village was quiet, surrounded by lush green fields and tall trees, a stark contrast to the bustling city Amma had known. Their new home was small but cozy. Amma quickly found comfort in the simple pleasures of the village life. Amma's mother took up work as a lesson teacher, offering extra classes to children who needed help with their studies. The pay was small, but it was enough to keep the family fed and clothed. Amma admired her mother's strength and resilience. Despite the hardship they faced, her mother never complained. She worked tirelessly, often staying up late into the night to prepare lessons and correct assignments. Amma knew that her mother was making great sacrifice for them, and she wanted to do everything she could to help. Life in the village wasn't easy, but it was a life that Amma cherished. She was surrounded by people who loved her, and that love gave her the courage to face whatever challenges came her way. Amma threw herself into her studies, determined to excel in school. She knew that education was her ticket to a better future, and she was willing to work hard to achieve her dreams. Several months passed, and Amma's mother received a letter from her sister in Abuja. Amma's aunt offered to take Amma in, believing that she would have better opportunities in the capital city. Amma's mother was overjoyed by the offer, seeing it as a chance to give her daughter a brighter future. But when Amma's mother told her about the offer, Amma's was hesitant. She didn't want to leave her family behind, especially after everything they had been through. The thought of being separated from her mother and siblings filled her with dread. But her mother assured her that this was a wonderful opportunity, one that could change her life for the better. After much persuasion, Amma reluctantly agreed to go to Abuja. The night before her departure was filled with tears and promises to stay in touch. Amma's mother packed her belongings neatly into a small suitcase, whispering words of comfort and encouragement. Although Amma was still unsure about leaving, she trusted her mother's judgment and hoped for the best. The journey to Abuja was long and quiet. Amma couldn't shake the feeling of sadness as she watched the familiar landscape of the village fade away. When they finally arrived, her aunt welcomed her with open arms. The city was vast and overwhelming, a stark contrast to the peaceful village she had left behind. At first, life in Abuja seemed promising. Amma attended a good school, and her aunt made sure she was well fed and clothed. But as time passed, her aunt's strict nature began to weigh on Amma. The smallest mistake was met with harsh punishment, and Amma soon found herself walking on eggshells, afraid to do anything wrong. The lovely, confident girl Amma once was began to fade. She missed her mother terribly, the quiet night in the village, and the warmth of her siblings. Abuja, with all its opportunities, felt cold and unwelcoming. Amma longed to return home, but she knew that wasn't an option. Not yet. One day, after returning from school, Amma changed out of her uniform and placed her school sandals in a nylon in her auntie's shop. Later that evening, she noticed that one of her sandals was missing. Amma searched everywhere for it, her hands pounding in her chest, but the sandal was nowhere to be found. When Amma told her aunt what had happened, her aunt accused her of losing the sandal at school and lying about it. The punishment that followed was severe. Her aunt beat her with a cane, and Amma's tears flowed, not just from the physical pain, but from the overwhelming sadness that had taken root in her heart. Amma's spirit was broken. She felt trapped, far from home and family, with no one to turn to. The incident with the sandal was just one of many instances where she felt misunderstood and mistreated. She began to withdraw, keeping to herself and doing everything she could to avoid her aunt's warrant. Amma's longing to return home grew stronger with each passing day. She couldn't bear the thought of spending another year in Abuja under her aunt's harsh rule. When her mother visited after a year and 6 months, Amma saw her chance. She begged her mother to take her back to the village, tears streaming down her face as she pleaded. Her mother was torn. She wanted what was best for Amma, and she believed that staying in Abuja would give her better opportunities. But seeing the fear and sorrow in Amma's eyes, she couldn't ignore her daughter's pain. After much deliberation, Amma's mother agreed to take her back to the village. Amma returned home with a mixture of relief and guilt. She knew her mother had made sacrifice to send her to Abuja, and she didn't want to disappoint her. But the thought of being back in the village surrounded by the people she loved filled her heart with joy. She promised herself that she would make the most of her time there, no matter what. Back in the village, Amma found solace in the familiar sights and sound. The green fields, the shipping of beds, and the laughter of her siblings brought a sense of peace that she had missed in Abuja. Her mother's comforting presence helped heal the emotional wound she had suffered. Amma returned to school and threw herself into her studies, determined to succeed. She knew that education was her best chance at a better future, and she wasn't going to let anything stand in her way. Amma's mother's encouragement and support gave her the strength she needed to keep going. Life in the village wasn't always easy, but it was a life that Amma cherished. She was surrounded by people who loved her, and that love gave her the courage to face whatever challenges came her way. Slowly, the pain of her time in Abuja began to fade, replaced by the warmth of home. 4 months after Amma returned to the village, her uncle visited from Onitsha. He had just had the baby with his wife and needed help taking care of the child. He proposed that Amma come live with them, promising her a better life and education in the bustling city of Onitsha. Amma was excited by the idea. She had always wanted to see Onitsha, a city she had read about in her storybooks. The thought of a new adventure filled her with anticipation. Her mother, though hesitant at first, agreed to let Amma go, hoping that this time things would be different. With a mixture of excitement and nervousness, Amma packed her bags and set off for Onitsha with her uncle. She was hopeful that this new chapter in her life would be a positive one and that she would finally find the happiness and stability she longed for. Onitsha was everything Amma had imagined. A bustling commercial hub filled with the sounds of traders calling out their wares and the scent of spices wafting through the air. Her uncle's home was modest but welcoming, and for a while Amma was happy. She loved her new school and enjoyed exploring the city's lively markets. But as time went on, Amma's uncle's wife began to show her true colors. She complained constantly, finding fault with everything Amma did. She criticized her cleaning and even the way she spoke. Amma tried her best to please her aunts, but nothing she did was ever good enough. The complaints escalated, and Amma's uncle, who had always been kind, began to punish her harshly whenever his wife complained. Amma felt like she was living in a nightmare, trapped in a place where she was unloved and unwanted. She missed the village, her mother, and the peace she had found there. Amma's situation in Onitsha worsened as her auntie's curiosity increased daily. Her aunt convinced her uncle to stop giving her money for snacks at school, saying it was spoiling her. Amma often went hungry for days, most times. One day after being wrongfully accused of something she didn't do, Amma was beaten so severely that she fell ill. Her body ached and she struggled to keep up with her schoolwork. Despite her illness, her aunt showed no compassion, insisting that Amma continue with her chores at school. Amma's uncle, noticing her declining health, finally realized the severity of the situation. He took her to a doctor, but the medicine she was given didn't seem to help. Amma's condition continued to worsen, and her uncle began to fear for her well-being. Fearing for Amma's health, her uncle decided to take her back to the village so her mother could care for her. When Amma arrived home, her mother was shocked by how weak and pale she had become. Without hesitation, her mother began to nurse her back to health, using traditional herbs and remedies. Slowly, Amma regained her strength, but the thought of returning to Onitsha filled her with dread. She couldn't bear the thought of going back to the place where she had been treated so cruelly. Her mother, sensing her fear, asked if she was being mistreated in her uncle's house. But Amma, not wanting to cause trouble, said no. Despite her mother's insistence that she return to Onitsha, Amma's heart was set on staying in the village. She knew that life in Onitsha might offer more opportunities, but the peace and love she felt in the village were worth more to her than anything else. Desperate to escape her worst nightmare, Amma came up with a plan. She approached her uncle and told him that she had a terrifying dream in which her late father appeared, warning her to return to her mother or she would die. The story shook her uncle to his core, and without hesitation, he agreed to take her back to the village. Back in her mother's care, Amma felt a sense of relief wash over her. She knew she had taken a risk by telling the story, but it was the only way she could think of to avoid staying in Onitsha. Her uncle, though saddened by her departure, respected her decision. Amma's mother, though concerned, was grateful to have her daughter back. She encouraged Amma to focus on her studies and to leave the past behind. Amma, relieved to be home, threw herself into her schoolwork, determined to succeed and make her mother proud. Amma settled back into village life. She returned to school with a renewed determination, eager to prove that she could succeed despite the challenges she had faced. A teacher noticed the change in her, and she quickly rose to the top of her class. Amma also began to help her mother with the house chores, taking on more responsibilities as she grew older. She learned to cook, clean, and care for her younger siblings, all while maintaining her focus on her education. The simple, peaceful life of the village brought her a sense of contentment she hadn't felt in a long time. As Amma excelled in her studies, she began to dream of a brighter future. She knew that education was her ticket to a better life, and she was determined to make the most of it. With her mother's support and encouragement, Amma began to believe that anything was possible. As Amma continued her education, she faced numerous challenges. The village school was underfunded, and the teachers often lacked the resources needed to provide a proper education. Amma had to work extra hard to keep up with her studies, often staying up late into the night to complete her assignments. Despite the difficulties, Amma's determination never wavered. She sought out books and materials on her own, spending hours in the village library, soaking up as much knowledge as she could. Her taste for learning was insatiable, and she quickly became known as one of the brightest students in the village. Amma also faced challenges outside of school. Some of the other children teased her for being so focused on her studies, calling her a bookworm and making fun of her for not spending more time playing. But Amma didn't let their words bother her. She knew what she wanted, and she wasn't going to let anything stand in her way. Amma's hard work paid off. When she graduated at the top of her class, she was overjoyed and proud of her achievements. But the reality of her situation soon set in. Despite her academic success, there was no money to send her to the university. Her mother simply couldn't afford the tuition fee, and there were no scholarships available for students from their village. Amma was devastated. She had worked so hard, only to find that her dreams of higher education were slipping away. She spent days in a state of despair, unsure of what to do next. Her mother, seeing her distress, tried to comfort her, but Amma couldn't shake the feeling of hopelessness. But deep down, Amma knew that giving up wasn't an option. She had come too far to let her dream die. She began to look for other ways to continue her education, researching online courses and alternative paths to success. She was determined to find a way, no matter how difficult it might be. Determined to achieve her dreams, Amma took on various jobs to save money. She helped people with their house chores, worked in the village market, and even did small jobs for local businesses. Amma was willing to do whatever it took to earn enough money to continue her education. The work was hard, and there were days when Amma felt exhausted and discouraged, but she refused to give up. Every day she reminded herself of why she was working so hard, of the dreams she had for her future. The support of her mother and siblings kept her going, even when the road ahead seemed long and difficult. Amma's efforts didn't go unnoticed. The villagers admired her determination and often offered her small jobs or extra tips to help her along the way. Slowly but surely, Amma began to save enough money to enroll in an online course that taught valuable skills. It wasn't the university education she had dreamt of, but it was a start. Amma's hard work and determination paid off when she completed an online course. The skill she learned allowed her to secure a well-paying job, one that didn't require a university degree. Amma was overjoyed and grateful for the opportunity, knowing that it was a result of her perseverance and dedication. With her new job, Amma was able to support herself and her family. She continued to save money, and before long, she had enough to enroll in an online university. Balancing work and study was challenging, but Amma was determined to succeed. She knew that education was the key to a better future, and she wasn't going to let anything stand in her way. As Amma worked towards her bachelor's degree, she began to dream of even bigger things. She wanted to pursue a master's degree, to continue learning and growing. Her journey had been difficult, but she knew that the challenges she had faced had made her stronger. With each step forward, Amma felt more confident in her ability to achieve her goals. Amma's determination led her to complete her bachelor's degree, a significant milestone in her journey. But she didn't stop there. Encouraged by her success, Amma decided to pursue a master's degree. She knew it would be difficult, especially with the demands of her job, but she was ready for the challenge. The master's program was intense, with long hours of study and research. Amma often found herself staying up late into the night, her eyes heavy with exhaustion, but her mind focused on her goals. She pushed herself to the limit, knowing that every sacrifice she made would bring her one step closer to her dreams. Despite the challenge, Amma excelled in her studies. Her professors were impressed with her dedication and hard work, and she quickly became one of the top students in her program. Amma's success was a testament to her resilience and determination, and it filled her with a sense of pride and accomplishment. Amma's hard work paid off when she successfully completed her master's degree. It was a moment of immense pride and joy, not just for Amma, but for her entire family. Her mother, who had supported her every step of the way, was especially proud. She knew how hard Amma had worked to achieve her goals, and seeing her daughter succeed filled her heart with happiness. But even with a master's degree, Amma wasn't done. She had always dreamt of going further, of pursuing a PhD and becoming an expert in her field. It was a dream that seemed almost impossible, but Amma had learned that nothing was impossible if she was willing to work for it. With her mother's encouragement, Amma began researching PhD programs. She knew it would be a long and challenging journey, but she was ready for it. The obstacles she had faced in her life had only made her stronger, and she was determined to achieve her dreams, no matter how difficult the road ahead might be. Amma's pursuit of her dreams led her to an opportunity that she had never imagined. Relocating to the United States, it was a chance to start a new life, to continue her education and to build the future that she had always dreamt of. But it also meant leaving behind her mother and siblings, a decision that weighed heavily on her heart. Amma knew that the United States offered opportunities that she couldn't find in Nigeria, but the thought of leaving her family was painful. She had always been close to her mother, and the idea of being so far away was difficult to accept. But after much soul searching, Amma decided to take the leap. The process of relocating was challenging, filled with paperwork, interviews, and countless hurdles. But Amma was determined to succeed, and with the support of her family, she made it through. When she finally arrived in the United States, she felt a mixture of excitement and fear. It was a new beginning, a chance to build the life she had always dreamt of. Life in the United States was both exciting and challenging. Amma had to adjust to a new culture, a new way of life, and the demands of her PhD program. But she embraced the challenge, determined to make the most of the opportunities she had been given. She quickly adapted to her new environment, making friends and building a support network that helped her through the tough times. Amma's studies were intense, but she was used to hard work. She spent countless hours in the library conducting research, writing papers, and preparing for exams. Her dedication paid off, and she quickly earned the respect of her professors and peers. But life wasn't all about work. During her time in the United States, Amma met a loving man who became her husband. He was supportive of her dreams and encouraged her to keep pushing forward. With his love and encouragement, Amma felt stronger than ever, ready to take on whatever challenges came her way. Amma's journey through her PhD program was one of the most challenging experiences of her life. The workload was immense, the expectations high, and the pressure to succeed sometimes overwhelming. But Amma thrived under the challenge, driven by her passion for knowledge and a desire to make a difference in the world. Her research focused on issues close to her heart, topics that she had always wanted to explore in depth. She spent long hours in the lab, gathering data, analyzing results, and writing her dissertation. It was exhausting work, but Amma loved every minute of it. She knew that her research had the potential to make a real impact, and that knowledge fueled her determination. As Amma neared the completion of her PhD, she began to receive recognition for her work. Her papers were published in academic journals, and she was invited to speak at conferences. Amma's success was a testament to her hard work and dedication, and it filled her with a sense of pride and accomplishment. Throughout her journey, Amma never forgot where she came from or the struggles she had faced along the way. She knew that she had been fortunate to have the support of her family, and she wanted to give back to those who weren't as lucky. She decided to start a no-governmental organization in Nigeria dedicated to helping widows and their children. Amma's focused on providing support and resources to widows, helping them care for their children and ensuring that those children received an education. Amma knew from her personal experience how difficult it could be to grow up without a father, and she wanted to do everything she could to help other children in similar situations. The work was challenging, but it was also incredibly rewarding. Amma's NGO quickly gained recognition for its impact, and she was able to help hundreds of children and families. The success of her NGO was a reflection of Amma's determination and her contentment to making a difference in the world. As Amma's life in the United States continued to flourish, she never forgot about her family back in Nigeria. She stayed in close contact with her mother and siblings, calling them regularly and sending money to help support them. But she longed to be reunited with them, to have them close to her once again. After years of hard work, Amma was finally in position to make that dream a reality. She arranged for her mother to come and live with her in the United States, providing her with the care and support she deserved. It was a joyous reunion, filled with tears of happiness and gratitude. Amma also helped her siblings relocate to the countries of their choice, ensuring that they had the opportunities they needed to build their own successful lives. Reuniting her family was one of the greatest accomplishments of Amma's life, and it filled her heart with a deep sense of fulfillment and joy. Amma's journey from a small village in Nigeria to the United States was nothing short of remarkable. She had overcome countless obstacles, faced challenges that would have broken many, and emerged stronger and more determined than ever. Her story was one of resilience, perseverance, and the power of dreams. But Amma's journey wasn't just about her own success. She knew that she had the responsibility to give back to help others achieve their own dreams. Through her NGO, Amma was able to make a real difference in the lives of countless children and families, providing them with the support and resources they needed to succeed. Amma's legacy was one of hope and inspiration. She had shown that with hard work, determination, and faith, anything was possible. Her story was a testament to the power of perseverance, and it served as a beacon of hope for anyone facing challenges of their own. With her PhD completed and her NGO thriving, Amma continued to reach new heights in her career and personal life. She was offered a position as a professor at a prestigious university, where she could continue her research and mentor the next generation of scholars. It was a dream come true, and Amma embraced the opportunity with open arms. As a professor, Amma was able to share her knowledge and experience with her students, inspiring them to pursue their own dreams and never give up, no matter how difficult the road ahead might be. She became a beloved figure on campus, known for her warmth, kindness, and unwavering commitment to her students. Amma's personal life also flourished. Her marriage was strong, and she and her husband enjoyed a happy and fulfilling life together. They traveled the world, exploring new cultures and making memories that would last a lifetime. Amma's life was full of joy, love, and fulfillment, and she was grateful for every moment. Amma's journey had come full circle. From a bright and inquisitive child in a small village in Nigeria, she had grown into a successful and respected woman, making a difference in the lives of countless others. Her story was one of triumph over adversity, and it served as an inspiration to all who heard it. As Amma stood before a crowd at an event organized by her NGO, she couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had brought her to this moment. The room was filled with people whose lives had been touched by her work, and Amma felt a deep sense of pride and fulfillment. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy my story, please click the subscribe button, like, share, comment, and don't forget to turn on the notification button for more interesting stories. Thank you.